When you were told about the Holocaust in school and in synagogue, there are a few words that stand out. Hitler, genocide, Auschwitz. But there is one word that is rarely talked about, yet it plays a vital role in Holocaust remembrance. The word is Majdanek. It is not a name, but a place. Just like Auschwitz, it is a place of horror. But what makes this place different from the rest? Majdanek is the only concentration camp that is still in the exact condition that it was in the 1940s. The reason? The Soviets got here before the Germans had a chance to destroy the evidence. As the war was coming to a close, the Nazis knew that they were going to have to answer for their crimes. So in an effort to bury what had happened, buildings were burned and the last of the Holocaust victims were murdered. Virtually all the camps were destroyed, except for this one.
In the other camps, we have to imagine everything, and in this camp it's here. Everything you can see exactly how it was. So it's really shocking.
Participants of the 2010 March of the Living visited Majdanek in the days leading up to the march.
Majdanek, more often than not, is one of the most difficult camps for them to go through because of what still remains.
I'm actually inside one of the original barracks that the Jews were forced to live in during the Holocaust. At maximum capacity, these barracks were designed to hold 250 people. But as the war marched on, more than 500 Jews were forced to live in this small space. There are several dozen barracks at Majdanek. Some of them were living quarters for prisoners. Some were used to store items stolen from its prisoners, including clothing, shoes, and hair. But upon entering barrack number 41, prisoners noticed a sign on the front of the building. So the Nazis didn't want the Jews to know that they were walking to their certain death, so they called the building bath and disinfection. In concentration camps like these, it was commonplace to go days, weeks, or even months without bathing. So the prospect of even a group shower would have been a relief. But once inside, relief quickly turned to horror. Forced at gunpoint, hundreds of men, women, and children were herded like cattle through these rooms. In one room there were in fact showers, but they were not for the prisoners' benefit. They were there because the gas works faster on wet bodies.
And before they had men and women, they made them naked, and the reason they did it together, so they would be so ashamed from each other, so they would not fight back.
Bring people into the gas chambers and kill them isn't efficient. First, let's cut off their hair, because we can sell their hair to make garments out of.
From the shower room, they moved into an even smaller room. What they didn't know was that it would be the last room they would ever visit. As hundreds of Jews stood crammed inside the gas chamber, a Nazi worker stood on top of this roof right here and dropped the Zyklon B pellets into the chamber. A Nazi guard standing in a small adjacent room, looking through a peephole in the wall, would confirm the death of every man, woman, and child in the chamber.
It's amazing the kind of barbarity that you see in there. You can't imagine that someone could just systematically kill an entire people like that and just without any sense of mercy or anything.
It's really hard. I mean, a lot of my family died in gas chambers, and it's horrible just to see it, and you can't even imagine what it would be like knowing you're getting pushed into one, and just like being in the dark room and seeing the gas stains. It's horrible.
I felt like almost guilty breathing in there because they didn't get to. It was just really hard to take everything in.
The first thing I saw was when I walked out was the sign that said the company that made the gas chamber and like the doors and the peepholes and stuff like that, like little things that they were proud of the doors they made and stuff like that. That I just couldn't even imagine what kind of like childhood and what kind of how somebody must be raised to be able to think and be proud of something like that.
The bodies were then taken a few hundred meters down this gravel road to the other side of the camp, where they would be burned inside Majdanek's crematorium. Some prisoners of Majdanek didn't even make it to the gas chambers. On November 3rd, 1943, 18,400 Jews were forced into these ditches over here and then executed. It was the most lethal day of the Holocaust.
I was a little bit overwhelmed by the concept that one human can do this to another. It doesn't even make sense to me.
We always listen about all this, but we never really saw this. And now that we are seeing, it's very like, oh my God, it's really happening, you know.
We're a day off of Yom HaShoah. Actually, today is the traditional date, the 27th day of Nisan, Yom HaShoah. And to imagine that people were here, people were around, and every time I see it, I can't even believe today that someone lives next door to Majdanek. I'm not sure how it would be playing baseball in my backyard and hitting the ball over the fence and ending up in Majdanek. There's something sacred about the space, and there's something profane about people who've gotten used to it.
It's very emotional to be here. Half of my family was murdered by the Nazis, and being here also, gives a very big sense of pride of being Jewish. Am Yisrael Chai, we are alive, we are here, and we're going to keep on with our traditions and with who we are. Judaism is a way of life.
The horrors of Majdanek can only be measured by the number of lives that perished here. From Poland, I'm Todd Segal.